Here's the day everyone's been waiting for. Or maybe no one's been waiting for. All right, the day I've been waiting for. Remember, I got this adventure spec skid plate, bash plate, and it was okay. I wasn't super stoked on it. What I had originally wanted and what I didn't get for whatever reason I talked myself out of was this guy. The AXP skid plate made of plastic. If you ever wonder what that looks like on the inside. So basically it's bent and then it's filled in with this epoxy, some hardware. Now, let's talk about skid plates for a second. They do, on a motorcycle, they serve two functions. When you roll up on something and hit it, right, it hits this and not, in this case, on your L, on your CRF450L, you don't hit your radiator coolant reserve. They allow you to slide across things without digging into your frame. And all the new modern ones have these wings that stick out, so this will keep you from bashing into your oil filter and your engine guards. And on the other side, this is super helpful. You cannot hit your, get in there, your water pump is right there, so your water pump's protected from taking a hit. On this one, on the adventure spec one, I had to cut it out so that I could get my header pipe on there. This is pretty standard the way most of the bash plates are. In coverage, they come back to here, right? And there's a little doohickey that helps it bolt onto where the stock one went. The only one that, and up front, they all include, a bracket that looks something like this that goes in here, just like this one does. So here's the stock mounting points. The only one that doesn't do that I've seen, Zeta, now has a skid plate, and theirs mounts right to the stock spots. I really like that. I really wish they could have done something like that with the plastic one, but I understand why they didn't. I could have got aluminum skid plates on this, but instead I went with steel because steel slides over rocks. Now, we're trying to make our bikes lighter, so I didn't want to go with steel. So the next option, and the one that they're going with on a lot of UTVs, is this HDPE blah blah blah. Internet, go ahead and flame me for that one. HDPE plastic, super heavy duty, super slippery, pretty thick. It's a little bendy, right? I mean, it is plastic. What do you want? So it's not going to be quite as strong as that. Although if you look at this, right, I can bend it. So we're going to go ahead and assemble this. This has some parts that need to go on so it attaches underneath. And the other thing about this AXP skid plate is it also comes with a slider basically for your linkage. Right, so this should extend all the way back over your linkage and keep all these little bits here from getting dings in them. Yeah, I might have hit some rocks. I might have bounced off some stuff with that. Oh look, I took a good one right there. Another reason for plastic is they say it's quieter. So earlier I downloaded this decibel meter for my phone. What could go wrong? And I held it here and here, and I came up with like 81 decibels with the aluminum skid plate on it. I'm going to put this guy together and put it on, and we'll see if that made any difference. I don't see it making any difference, but let me tell you that as you're pulling all the side covers off your bike, everybody does it, it's okay, it's all right, no need to feel ashamed. All the side covers off of this thing, those side covers with the foam really quiet your bike down, and you don't realize that until you take them out, and all of a sudden you can hear the gearbox hum, right? You can hear all the mechanical noises going on down here. And when you first got your new CRF450L, it was like, oh man, this thing is so quiet, I feel like, you know, I'm riding a scooter. And then you pull all this stuff off and realize that no, you actually have a dirt bike motor in this thing, and it makes some noise. And yeah, there you go. So it does get louder. It's not bad or anything, I'm just saying it's a little louder. So all right, basically this is going to go on here. Do you guys actually want to watch me put this together? Do you care? I mean, it's pretty basic shit. I'm going to pull this one off. I'm going to put the little brackets that hold everything up underneath on, and then I'm going to install it. You don't need to see that. All right. So, oh, and last thing before I go and put this together, I went with red because you're all dying to know, does red look okay? Right? I mean, it's the black down at the bottom actually looks, you know, looks nice, looks professional. Is red going to be a little, what's the word, garish, a little too much? I'm going to take the hit on this one, and I'm going to get the red one and put it on, and we're going to look at it, and y'all can decide if you want to go with red or black afterwards. I'm really hoping that red looks cool, because in case you're wondering, I pay for all this stuff. I am not sponsored by anybody. Nobody's ever given me anything. No hats, no t-shirts. And all y'all manufacturers out there, if you're looking for t-shirts to give away, I'm a size large. But I went with red. I'm going to take the hit on this, and we're going to put it on and see what it looks like. Okay, that's it. I'm going to shut up, and let's get this thing together. All right, now for the installation. We've got it all put together. We've got this guy, right? It goes up here. We've got these two, which go right here. We've got this little extra plate, which is going to go here. Do not put that on beforehand. So you need to get your linkage up as high as you can. So I've stood the bike up using the high-tech bike stander upper straightening device, which Bernie has generously let me borrow. How some of these people make this shit look so easy. The YouTubing part, I don't get it. Complete and utter pain in my butt. Sorry. I like you guys. I like connecting with everybody and getting advice and being told how to pronounce funny words. That's my favorite part of this whole YouTube experience. But what I don't like is that, you know, an hour-long project now takes 3 days. There we go. I think. Okay. Whoever fell off their horse apparently didn't actually fall off their horse. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. If I compress the bike enough, right, I can get some space in there and everything lines up good. But if I don't, it touches and it makes it really hard to get this thing on. Okay. The next thing is to get these guys back on that hold your... Alright, so we got that one in. The bolts they give you, these little button heads, don't work. That's my favorite thing, is when you're doing these aftermarket projects that you see on YouTube. Oh yeah, it just goes on like this. Hey, no, not so much. Right, so there it is. There's the hole. It's already lined up. I have one in over here, just hold it in place. Right? It doesn't even touch. It doesn't even try to work. It doesn't even pretend it's gonna do anything for you. So luckily, I have a ton of spare bolts. Go out and buy yourself one of those kits that's full of extra, you know, the generic kits full of extra bolts. It will be a lifesaver over and over and over again, especially if you're doing a lot of do-it-yourself work. And I'll show you the one I bought here in a second. So I had that one was in there as a placeholder for these guys that are going to go in here like so. When I first bought this motorcycle, knowing what I was going to do, and bought a bolt pack specifically for the CRF, right? So this has all kinds of extra doojiggies in there, and it has saved my bacon on some of these projects. And your oil drain plug is right there. Theoretically that'll come out. Okay. So those are in. The last two we got to do are up front. Now the last thing I have to do is put this spacer, goes in there. Yeah, try to do this with one hand. Okay, that goes in there, and then these bolts come up through here, and I'll do that off camera. We're done. It's installed, and that's what she looks like. So the coverage on this side is about what it was with the Adventure spec. Coverage on this side is not as good, right? The Adventure spec went up here a little higher because I had to cut it out. It still covers if something falls. That little blip, I think that's why they added that. We'll push in a, right? We'll take some of the hit off of that. The real test on whether or not I like this thing will be the first oil change I have to do, and whether or not that hole is big enough to easily get the drain plug in and out. Right? Okay, so it's on. It took way longer than I wanted it to. It was not the easiest project. Again, I had to grab spare bolts because the ones that are supplied are garbage. And let's do a quick test. Put it in neutral. $82. It's actually one, I guess this is reading in decibels, I don't know. According to this app, it's actually louder. It's actually louder. Turn this piece of crap off. Now that's an app I downloaded on my phone. I don't know, sounds exactly the same to me. Sounds exactly the same to me. All right, so. That's what the AXP bash guard looks like. What do you guys think of the red on red? Too much red? Not enough red? I don't know. Let me know what you think.